MTV, Jamie speaking.
Brian, listen to me, Brian. I'm freaking out, okay? Our numbers are down. We're flatlining. Nobody cares about MTV anymore, Brian, and I need your advice. Can you do that for me, Brian?
You want my advice?
Yeah, lay it on me, Brian. Put some of that gay British intellect to use, huh?
Okay, well first, this weird documentary series you greenlit where you have a cameraman follow you around all the time is probably a bad investment.
Well, Brian, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. Materialistic corporatism is the new punk rock. I know what the millennials like. You know that?
I really doubt people are going to be watching the life and times of an MTV executive.
What the? This isn't chai tea. What the hell is this?
And what about this Decoded thing? Seems like a waste of money.
Wait, now, Brian, I know you're not telling me what I think it is you're telling me. Are you suggesting, Brian, that our political content, MTV's political content, isn't taking the internet by storm? Listen, I got a reality check for you, bud. MTV Decoded, raking in the views.
Yeah, not really though. Nobody's watching it. In fact, it seems more popular online to make fun of Decoded than to actually be decoded.
Brian, come on, Brian. That's YouTube. That place is full of literal Nazis. Who cares about that? Snapchat, that's where our audience is.
Well, I mean, I guess, but we're being dwarfed by some dancing hot dog meme.
You yanking my chain?
Afraid not.
That's insane. Can you believe that Snapchat isn't the place to post long-form political discussions? What?
I can believe that entirely.
Me neither, man. Well, you know what, Brian? Maybe you're right. You know, maybe MTV Decoded is a colossal laughingstock, and maybe we made a huge mistake in trying to be rebelliously political and yet rigidly corporate at the same time. And it might be true, that there's some video out there of like some kid squandering his life through the streets of Manhattan drinking bleach that gets more clicks than anything we ever produce anymore. But I mean,
so you see the issue.
At least we can take solace in the fact that we hired the most likable, most smartest, most intelligent, most down-to-earth human being we possibly could to host it. At least we did that right, Brian?
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad to hear it. Can you do me a favor and renew MTV Decoded for 45 more seasons? Would you, Brian? 45, maybe 46. You gonna do that for me, Brian? Can you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. Hey, Brian, you still there? I think you're disconnecting. I think you're breaking up. Hey everybody, Chris Reagan here. Welcome back to the program. Late to the party as usual. And I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're probably thinking, Chris, what the hell was that? A long and drawn-out, poorly acted comedy sketch? What is this, the Nostalgia Critic? Alas, my friends, you are incorrect. This is not the Nostalgia Critic, although today we will be critiquing something that is such old news at this point that it's practically nostalgic for most of us. So I guess in a way, it kind of is. That's right, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the infamous post-VidCon Franchesca Ramsey podcast. And look, I know Armored Skeptic and Andy Warski already did very long videos about it. They're very long, very detailed, very interesting. But the tone of those videos was a little bit more serious than I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to just have fun with this whole thing, send a couple light jabs Franchesca's way, especially because I feel like there were parts of the podcast that Greg and Andy didn't really pick up on or address. And as I was working on this video, she came out with another podcast basically completely dismissing every single criticism that Andy and Greg made. So it's like, well, because of course she did. Now, I know some of you might be out of the loop when it comes to this particular situation, but it's an interesting situation for sure. So I figured I'd set the stage for you. Let me just set the stage a little bit. We ready? Get ready to fucking have your stage set, bitch. It all started in, I don't know, like 2015? That sounds about right, whatever, who fucking cares? Franchesca Ramsey became the host of a new show called MTV Decoded, a show whose main goal is to propagate social justice-heavy political messages using MTV's branding and audience. Because I guess the M in MTV stands for... why? You know why I watch music television? For the politics, of course. What does Billy Idol think of the shrinking middle class? Now, I can't speak to how well the show is received outside of YouTube. Facebook is pretty notorious with their number fluffing and questionable metrics, and apparently their Snapchat numbers are good, whatever that means. But within the walls of YouTube, MTV Decoded quickly earned the coveted title of low-hanging fruit, which made it a pretty easy target for channels like mine to mock and pick apart. Hell, even I made a couple of MTV Decoded videos, look at that!
Calling someone PC is a way to derail and dismiss conversations about inequality.
No!
No!
Now, there are a lot of videos criticizing MTV Decoded, so much so that some of the first results when you search it on YouTube is one of yours truly, and I didn't even make that many. Oh, geez. I should probably update that thumbnail before I get my ass beat. Fran didn't like us, we didn't like her, and that's pretty much how things stayed for quite a while. Fast forward like a year or so later, and it comes out that some of her critics were reaching out to her, and she was actually engaging with them behind the scenes. Actually talking out their differences one-on-one instead of through response videos or passive-aggressive tweets. And then bam, a few months later, the Lacey Green situation happens. I already did a video on that, you can check that out here. I'm not gonna fucking go over that clusterfuck again, good lord. Anyway, things are looking pretty good for the open dialogue that a lot of us were hoping to see. Given that this had all followed the Lacey Green event, we were feeling pretty positive about the months to come. And then VidCon arrives, where we all finally met in person. Sargon, Blaire, Shu, Skeptic, Vernaculis, me. Nearly everyone was there, and it was fucking awesome.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
And during the convention, Franchesca Ramsey actually met up with Andy and Greg separately, and all I heard about her afterwards was how well those meetings went and how they had all felt like they had made real progress. She even went on stage at VidCon and said this.
So what I'm hoping to impart to you all is that when it comes to issues that matter and making a real measurable difference, you don't always need an audience. Last year on Decoded, we used the Holocaust as a rhetorical device, which was a huge mistake. I was called out all over the place, and rightly so, and I almost made it worse by diving headfirst into the public fray on my Twitter feed. Instead, I DM'd someone that had made a post about the video, and I asked if they would be open to talking about it. And thankfully, they were open to hopping on Skype. And this conversation was productive because there was no audience there to take sides or to like or to share. We have to remember that there are real people on the other side of those screens. And maybe having these conversations offline, one-on-one, without an audience there can help us better understand how to have them on a bigger scale.
This was a clear shift in tone and a message that I think a lot of people could get behind. So that's the situation. Everyone's feeling good, people from opposing sides are finally talking and treating each other like people, and there's a refreshing air of positivity on YouTube. I'll cut that. 2 weeks after this, though, Fran goes on her and her husband's podcast and essentially undoes all of the goodwill she cultivated over the last several months. Which brings us to where we are now. It's all done. You're all caught up on the lore of our VidCon escapades. So everybody get ready, because we're about to dive into this pile of trash and tears head first. Vámonos! That's me putting my Spanish heritage to use. Vámonos, pendejo!
Fucking hateful pieces of shit. You probably heard that there was a lot of drama because some well-known YouTube trolls that call themselves anti-feminists came to VidCon and...
I love that that's your banner. Anti-anything.
So dumb.
Oof, so dumb, guys. So stupid. Why would anyone in their right mind ever oppose anything? Only an invalid would consider themselves to be anti-something. You remember back in the day, all those annoying abolitionists droning on and on about, ooh, I'm anti-slavery. What a bunch of Morans.
What's up, bitch?
Now you tell me something that you're against, like something you would consider yourself anti. Famine, rape, murder, anything.
Anti-racial bias.
You're anti-racial bias? Yeah. You fucking idiot, you moron. Kill yourself.
I've tried many a times.
And this coming from the crowd that regularly says, hello, I am an anti-racism advocate. Hello, I'm anti-Trump. There's nothing wrong with being opposed to something. You'd think a self-identified activist would know that. And that's not even mentioning the fact that many of us don't even really identify as anti-feminist or anti-SJW. We really just kind of use that name to address our community, our sphere of YouTube, for the sake of convenience and communication.
They also call themselves anti-SJWs because, and I freaking hate that SJW thing. It stands for social justice warrior, and it's really just a way to label anyone that you disagree with or you believe is hysterical or quote unquote too invested in social justice, which is like, it's such an oxymoron. It's like, you're somebody that wants to fight for social justice. It's like, that's not a bad thing.
It's just a way to apply a label so that they can say, hey, that's the enemy.
Yeah, you know what? Screw all those people who put labels on other people just to dehumanize them. What a dick move. And you know what I'm gonna do? Just to be really consistent on this point, I'm gonna make an entire podcast talking about meeting people I disagree with and describe it as troll hunting.
And then you talk to these people who are fucking hateful pieces of shit.
We have to remember that there are real people on the other side of those screens.
Hateful pieces of shit.
Yeah, they're just trolls. Fuck them. What, actual criticisms? Legitimate grievances? From trolls? What? What is this, a troll in Central Park? What is this, the troll from the Lord of the Rings movie when Frodo and Mary Jane Watson fight one in Grand Central Station? I'm not very good with movies. Am I thinking of Mac and Me? Oh no, I'm thinking of Harry Potter, fuck.
And basically, they came to VidCon and went to a panel about women in online harassment. How ironic. And like sat in the front row. And...
Not ironic, deliberate.
Oh, right. Oh, right. But I'm just saying.
I mean, it is ironic in a sense.
Oh! Franchesca, what are you doing? You gonna sit there and let this Casperic bitch mansplain to you what the definition of irony is? I mean, ironic and deliberate aren't even like opposites or contradictory at all. He literally just wanted to cut you off. Typical white man cutting off the black woman. And yet here you are playing all nice with him. I, for one, shocked. I'm shocked and appalled. That actually fucking hurt. Holy shit.
And then they came to my panel. I feel like I had an advantage in the sense that I knew that they were coming. Like I, suspected they were coming because they had gone to the women in online harassment panel and again, caused a scene, asked a bunch of like inflammatory, dumb questions.
Right. You said they were sending people up. The
head honcho.
The Papa trolls were sending these little baby trolls up to ask questions on their behalf.
Yeah, that's actually like entirely false. She actually just made that up entirely. Like I don't even know what else there is to say about that. And as if we like fed them lines through like some kind of secret headset. Like what the fuck? What are you doing? What are you, Alex Jones? Christ.
That were meant to rattle you.
Baby, it was so embarrassing because they were exactly what you would expect, right? Like this one kid got up there and he maybe was like 18, 19, he was very young, and he could barely string a sentence together. He was like, do you think that women victimize themselves? I was like, what? Like, speaking to the mic, have you ever used a microphone before? Like, it was embarrassing.
You know, guys, what I love most about Fran is that her messages are radiated with an air of positivity. Just the most positive message that anyone could possibly send. That is Franchesca in a nutshell. Remember, kids, if you have social anxiety, if you are uncomfortable in front of large crowds, you should be embarrassed. What, you're uncomfortable with public speaking? Something that 3/4 of the United States population is deathly afraid of? Well, you know what? If I were you, I would dive headfirst into traffic, you lousy sack of shit. Hey, listen, that's not me talking, that's King Ramses. That's King Ramses, the man in gauze. You know, the thing about social anxiety, Fran, is that a lot of people really can't help it. It really is something that a lot of people cannot help. Isn't there like a word for making fun of people over characteristics and things they can't control? So something like ableisticism or like abilityism or like, progressive.
I had the benefit of knowing that they were coming, and so I tried to like handle myself in a way that like put them in their place. Like I had this great mic drop moment where like I was answering a question and one of the guys in the audience was trying to talk over me. He was like yelling at me, and I looked at him and I said, there's a reason I have a microphone and you don't. I mean, and it was awesome. Like the audience was like, oh shit, she's got a microphone.
Well, I have a mic for a reason and you don't. I will say...
Now, this is the part of the podcast that I feel is the most telling. Fran, you have a microphone not because of your skills, talent, or unique perspective. Because let's be real, I'm gonna be blunt here for a minute. Because, Fran, your unique perspective is shared by literally every single person on your panel. Your skill, your special skill, Fran, is that you can be relied upon and depended on to toe the line that Google wants. Because honestly, out of genuine curiosity, Fran, what is your talent? Can you sing? Can you edit? Can you act? Because all I see on your personal channel is vlogs and BuzzFeed clickbait. And granted, it's BuzzFeed clickbait before BuzzFeed clickbait, but pioneering BuzzFeed clickbait isn't exactly a talent. I don't understand where this self-aggrandizing view of yourself is coming from. As if that somehow makes you a better person than anybody in the audience just because you were invited to a panel solely because your opinion is the most palatable. Like, fucking what? Get a grip.
You know, and to me, it was true because you are in the audience. Like, you are no one here. You are a guest. I am someone that has been invited to be here.
Yeah, Fran, sure. I'm very positive that the bar to get on this panel is so very high. It must require a very large audience and a very immense amount of relevance just to make the list. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it has nothing to do with any other factor involving where you lean politically. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it.
And you'll never be on this stage because all of your content is just about hating on women and hating on social justice and being like, oh, the gays don't need rights.
As I live and breathe, my goodness. You remember the good old days, guys? You remember my classic hit video, The Gays Don't Need Rights? Oh wait, that wasn't my video. That was Shoe on Heads, right? Sargon's, Armored Skeptics, Vernaculis, Blaire White, SomeBlackGuy. Oh wait, oh yeah, it was none of us. You pathological lying psychopath. The gays don't need rights. What the fuck?
You said that you noticed at VidCon that they were far more agreeable and people were actually approaching you and
Suddenly they're like, oh yeah, let's sit down and talk. I'm like, okay, let's talk. They're
willing
like,
to
let's
talk
make some
to you
videos
like a
together.
normal
I'm
human
like,
being.
no, bitch, we're not making videos with you.
But they've been doing that for a while, trying to get you to, quote, debate them,
Oh,
right?
right.
Just to get your audience to tune into them
But
so
the
that they
debate-
have
but the
wider exposure.
What audience do you have that you could possibly give us? I actually, not even kidding, I have a video of my friends rambling about absolutely nothing on a second channel that I never advertise that is doing just as well, if not better, than many episodes of your flagship series. I mean, fuck, my barely existent SoundCloud account does better than their podcast, and that's with fewer followers. And look, I don't like bringing up the whole numbers thing, because I do feel like the numbers thing is just like oh, look at how many people like me, that must mean I'm better than you. No. But if somebody else is going to make this argument that like, oh, we have a ton of relevance, I have so much that I can offer you, I am bigger, this is why I have a microphone and you don't, I'm a big fish, then you kind of just have to smack them down. You gotta milk the smugness out of them just a little bit, just like grab an udder, grab a smug udder and get the little smug milk out, drain that smug milk. This is the worst fucking joke ever. Joke abortion. I thought I'd have a little bit of fun and make this next part into a bit of a multiple choice. See if you can guess who it is she's referring to in this next clip. Is it A, Lacey Green, B, Lacey Green, or C, Lacey Green? Hint, it's all of them.
I've been having these offline conversations with some people that, you know, at face value are not what you would call good people. They've made some pretty hateful, terrible content. I'm just clarifying because I have not really talked very publicly about my doing this. So I'm just I'm not becoming friends with these people. I'm not going to start fucking dating them. No shade.
Now, this whole thing is super interesting because a lot of people were like really thrown off guard by the fact that, you know, Franchesca Ramsey seemed to do like this massive 180. Like, she was all for open dialogue. She was all for being nice to people online. She was all for like engaging with people behind the scenes, not in front of an audience. And then she goes on a podcast in front of, well, I was gonna say millions, but dozens of people, and shit talks everybody that she met with in person, like for an audience. Like, she goes against her own. Like, she made such a 180 that everybody was just like, what the fuck happened? I have a theory. My theory is that Franchesca Ramsey is an entirely corporate individual. She really just follows the money, which is why she was so in favor of having an open dialogue before Lacey had a fuck ton of hit pieces written about her. Oh, if this goes well for Lacey, if this is profitable, if this is a profitable move for Lacey going into this realm of like having an open dialogue, if that's a profitable thing, I'm just gonna stick my toes in the water just so I can say, yeah, I was there from the beginning. Don't count me out of this. I want some of that credit. But if it goes bad for Lacey and she gets a metric fuck ton of hit pieces written about her on a fucking weekly basis, well, you know what? Then I can say, I was never for that. You know, I was never really engaging with these people. I was just gathering intel on the trolls.
You know, we'll see what happens.
Successful troll hunt.
Yeah, I've got a few heads to hang up on my wall.
I was just troll hunting, guys. It was reconnaissance. Because I, Franchesca Ramsey, am about to have a failing pilot on Comedy Central. And I can't have my name attached to all these hit piece articles and slanderous articles. I can't have that. Okay, I'm having a heat stroke. It's really hot in this room, so I think I'm done with the main podcast. Greg and Andy already went through this, through the majority of the podcast anyway, so if you want a deeper cut, I'd recommend watching Greg's video because it's very solid. It's a very cathartic watch. I'll see you in the next video because, good lord, there's a lot of stuff to talk about on the recap. Good lord. made it to the end of the video. Look at that. Just want to let you know that we got shirts out again. There's a limited run on the Kill Me PlayStation and the Drink Me Bleach and the Perfectly Fine and Kill Me. Come get them.
Sodom ruins everything.
Oh, hey.
Stop ruining shit.
He really ruined the fuck out of that bus, didn't he? Sometimes it's all about the smile you put on a kid's face, you know. You see your son sitting there screaming constantly, "Help, Dad. I got stabbed in the chest, Dad. Help me. Help." But I won't help you, son. It builds character.